a quiet pawn shop, run by a man who just wants to live in peace. But when a bag of drugs ends up hidden in his shop, his world is thrown into darkness. That single mistake puts an innocent little girl, his only true friend, in the crosshairs of a ruthless gang. And to save her, this quiet man will have to awaken the terrifying past he's been hiding all along. Who is he really? What secrets lie buried beneath that calm, ordinary face? And can he fight his way through hell to rescue the only person who still believes in him? Today, we dive into a masterpiece action thriller where raw emotion collides with unstoppable rage. So buckle up, because this story is about to explode. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. The movie opens with a man named Cha Tae-sik. On the surface, he seems like just another quiet, harmless guy running a small pawn shop, a place where people in need of quick cash drop off their phones or valuables for a loan. But behind his silent eyes, there's a weight, something in his past that's left deep scars. Tae-sik never meddles in anyone's business. He keeps to himself, lives in the shadows, almost like a ghost in his own neighborhood. The only person who manages to crack that shell is a little girl next door, So-mi. She sees him not as a scary loner, but as her friend. And while Tae-sik doesn't let anyone get close, there's something about this kid's innocence that he can't push away. So-mi's life, however, is far from innocent. Her mother works as a dancer in a nightclub, caught up in drugs and dangerous choices. One night, desperate and reckless, she steals a packet of drugs worth millions from the wrong people and hides it inside a camera bag. Then she casually drops that bag off with Tae-sik, pretending it's just another pawnshop deal. What he doesn't know is that this little favor just put him in the crosshairs of one of the city's most powerful crime syndicates. When the mafia realizes their product's been stolen, they send two ruthless brothers, the kind of guys who do the dirty work no one else will touch. Soon enough, one of them learns the thief was a nightclub dancer, and that's when the story starts to shift. At home, So-mi's mom kicks her out of the room while she hides the drugs, leaving the poor girl in tears. With nowhere else to go, So-mi runs to Tae-sik, begging for comfort, and despite his cold, distant nature, he lets her crash at his place. That night, So-mi teases him, saying, "Do you know people call you a ghost because you're so quiet and creepy?" Tae-sik doesn't reply. He just tells her to get some sleep and walks away. Meanwhile, back at her apartment, So-mi's mom faces her furious boyfriend. He knows she stole the drugs and warns her, "That stuff belongs to the mafia. You don't give it back, they'll kill you." But blinded by greed, she refuses. In her mind, this score is her ticket to a better life. The next morning, we see Tae-sik again, this time noticing his fingernail painted with a tiny angry emoji, something So-mi had drawn for fun. She even left him a little note, and for the first time in years, he smiles. Later that day, as he walks past So-mi's school, he witnesses something disturbing. A grown woman is violently hitting So-mi. Tae-sik rushes over, but before he can do anything, the police arrive. After questioning, the woman claims So-mi tried to steal her child's bag. But through tears, the little girl insists, "I wasn't stealing. I was just comparing her bag with mine to see which one looked prettier." The police start questioning little So-mi about her parents, but instead of answering, the girl quietly points to Tae-sik, who's standing off in the distance. The cops assume he must be her father and start walking towards him. Tae-sik doesn't say a word. He just turns and walks away. Later that evening, So-mi shows up to see him, but Tae-sik scolds her harshly. "Are you out of your mind? Why would you point at me like that?" His voice is sharp, but the girl breaks down. She says everyone calls her crazy, everyone hates her, and she hates them back. The only person she ever considered a friend was him. "Do you want me to hate you too?" she asks before storming off in tears. Not long after, Tae-sik heads home, but when So-mi arrives at her place, she sees a nightmare unfolding. A group of thugs are beating her mother. These men belong to a powerful drug cartel, the same cartel whose stash her mother had stolen. They demand to know where the missing drugs are. At first, she refuses, but after brutal torture, she finally breaks, admitting the drugs are hidden inside a camera bag. Even with the answer, the gang shows no mercy. They kidnap So-mi's mother and send the rest of their men to Taeg's pawn shop to retrieve the bag. When Tae-won pulls out a knife and demands the camera bag, saying it was given to Taeg by his neighbor. The moment the man looks away, Taeg snatches the blade from his hand with lightning speed. The thug is stunned. Another attacker rushes at Taeg, but he takes him down so hard the guy's knocked out cold. The second man panics and quickly calls the cartel's right-hand man, who's waiting in the car downstairs. That man sends up another thug who hands Taeg a phone. On the other end, he hears So-mi's terrified voice. They threaten her life, forcing him to give up the bag. Meanwhile, the unconscious thug gets executed by his own ally, killed just because he was disliked. But this leaves Taeg's shop stained with blood, and the killers deliberately leave the phone behind to frame him for murder. Taeg realizes instantly they're setting him up. On top of that, something doesn't add up. The gang already has their drugs, so why are they still holding on to So-mi's mother? Taeg rushes downstairs, hoping to follow them, but it's too late. They're gone. He has no choice but to call the police, but when they ask for his address, he freezes. There's a body in his shop, and he knows the blame is about to fall on him. The phone rings. It's the same one those monsters left behind. On the other end, the mafia boss's right-hand man lays it out plain. If you want those two alive, you're going to do a job for me. Details are on this phone. So Taeg plays along. He follows the orders, cracks open a locker, and pulls out a packet of cocaine. Then, without hesitation, he marches straight to the big boss himself. Standing face to face with the kingpin, Taeg throws the drugs on the table and demands, "Here's your shipment. Now let Somi and her mother go." But instead of relief, the boss is stunned, because even he had no idea his own right-hand man had kidnapped those women. And when he looks closer, the boss realizes something worse. This isn't just a random drug deal. That packet Taeg delivered, it came hidden inside a luxury bag worth nearly $10 million. The drugs themselves are cheap, which means only one thing. His right-hand man has betrayed him. And the betrayal cuts deep. Not only did the traitor double-cross his boss, he even tipped off the cops. Sirens wail in the distance. The mafia boss snaps, boiling with rage. He lashes out, attacking Taeg and hurls him straight out of the building. Right then, the police storm the place. They arrest everyone in sight, except for the boss, who slips away in the chaos, escaping in a car. But Taeg isn't about to let him vanish. Broken and bloodied, he gives chase in a stolen car. That's when he makes a gut-wrenching discovery. In the trunk lies Somi's mother, dead. Her body mutilated, her organs harvested. And when the police catch up, they see Taeg standing over the body. To them, it looks like he's the one responsible. They throw him in cuffs. At the station, one officer digs deeper into who this mysterious man really is. But when he tries to pull his biometrics, the system blocks him. Locked. Classified. Even the government database won't open his file. Suspicion rises. Meanwhile, Taeg is already calculating his next move. He tells the officer calmly, "I eat with my left hand. If you want me to eat, uncuff it." The officer, unsuspecting, unlocks his left hand. And that's all he needs. In a flash, he springs up, takes the guards down, breaks free, and disappears into the night. Cut to the mafia boss. He doesn't get far. His own right-hand man guns him down, seizing power for himself. Then the camera snaps back to Taeg. He digs through a trash bin and pulls out that phone, the same one he used to talk to Somi. Determined, he takes it to a cell phone shop, trying to trace the calls and location. But the shopkeeper refuses to give up the info. Big mistake. Taeg unleashes his fury, forcing the truth out of them. The lead points him straight to the brothers behind it all, Jongsok and Munsok, the traitorous right-hand men who killed their own boss and claimed the throne for themselves. Now they run the empire, and Taesik, he's coming for them. Inside the building elevator, Taesik comes face to face with Munsok, the elder brother of the gang. Neither of them has ever seen the other before, so they don't recognize one another. But the moment Munsok calls his younger brother and warns him, "Be careful, that guy might be coming for you," Taesik's instincts kick in. Something feels off. Later, Taesik heads to the restroom, and by sheer chance, he runs into the very same man he had seen earlier. Taesik strikes him down, demanding to know where Somi is, but the man refuses to talk. Before Taesik can catch his breath, the man who dropped off the cell phone earlier also appears. A brutal fight breaks out. Though Taesik fights with everything he's got, the men escape, tossing him another phone before vanishing into the night. That's when the police arrive. Seeing the chaos, Taesik hijacks a car and speeds away. Cut to Somi. The little girl is now in the hands of the drug mafia, who deliver her to a woman running a horrifying smuggling operation. These monsters use children as mules, surgically cutting out their kidneys, stuffing them with cocaine, then, once the drugs are delivered, harvesting every last organ, sold to the black market. Meanwhile, we find Taesik wounded, with someone digging bullets out of his body, scars from the brutal fight moments earlier. And here, we finally learn his tragic past. Once, Taesik had a family, a wife, a home, but he watched helplessly as his wife was taken from him right before his eyes. Since then, his life had been empty, until Somi. The thought of losing her, unbearable. Determined not to let history repeat itself, Taesik makes a vow. He shaves his head, arms himself with guns from an old friend, and sets out on a mission of no return. His first target, the children being used to traffic drugs. Following the trail leads him into a basement where the two brothers run their sick operation. Taesik storms in, freeing the children and setting the entire place ablaze. In the chaos, the younger brother, Jongsok, is burned alive. But Somi's nightmare isn't over. In the very next scene, she's taken by a man working for an organ harvesting surgeon. When the man arrives, Somi notices the wound on his head. Innocent as ever, she gently wraps it with a bandage. That small act of kindness cracks something inside him. For the first time, guilt floods his face. He feels pity. He feels human again. And yet, Somi is delivered to the surgeon. We see her on the operating table. Her eyes taken. The surgeon hands them over to Munsok, the elder brother, like merchandise. Then Taesik arrives. Desperate, he demands to know where Somi is. With a cruel smirk, Munsok tosses the child's severed eyes at his feet and sneers, "Here's your Somi." That's the breaking point. Rage, pain, despair. Taesik snaps. He tears through every man in the room, leaving nothing but blood and bodies. Munsok, terrified, makes a run for it, knowing that death itself is right behind him. And then, just when he thinks he's won, Taesek catches him. Monseok panics, locks himself inside his car, and starts laughing. Why? Because his car is bulletproof, and he's already called the cops. In his mind, he's untouchable. That laugh doesn't last long, because we all know there's no such thing as truly bulletproof. That's exactly what Taesek does. He fires again and again, drilling the same spot until the window finally bursts apart. The last bullet finds its mark, straight into Monseok. And just like that, the monster is gone. With the villain dead, Taesek's mission is finally over, but he knows his own time is running out. He accepts that this might be the end for him too, until a familiar voice stops him in his tracks. Somi. Shocked, Taesek turns around, and there she is, alive. The man hadn't killed her after all. Instead, he must have turned his knife on the surgeon. Somi runs to him, throws her arms around him, and for a moment, it feels like everything is okay. But then, the flashing lights appear. The police have arrived. They arrest Taesek on the spot. Before they take him away, he makes one final request. Stop by a small stationery shop. Inside, Taesek gently buys Somi a school bag and all the supplies she'll need. He looks at her and says, "From now on, you'll have to handle life on your own. Wait for me, just for a few years." Somi breaks down, clutching him tightly, tears streaming down her face, and with that heartbreaking embrace, the story comes to an end. And what an ending it is! A brutal, beautiful, unforgettable film.